Welcome. Today we are discussing and reviewing the F3 Pen's Pocket Pen, a small but mighty little compact pen. F3 Pens was started in Southwest Florida in 2010 with a married couple, Carl and Christine, and that stands for Fisher Family Fountain. So the three F's, Fisher Family Fountain, F3 Pens. This particular one is their pocket pen, and this one is even more special underneath the hood because it's set for a number 8 nib, or a Bach 380, so it's a bigger nib, and this is not for the faint of heart. This was a custom nib sent in by a sponsor, and it does have some very unique engravings on it. So that is an internet meme if you're not familiar. This is on a Kodachi grind from Matt Chen. Bespoke makers can use blanks from many particular makers. This particular resin was called Turnt Midnight Oil. First off, you notice this big, beautiful ink window right away. Once you get this inked up, though, it always has a color to it. And here's another example. One of the coolest things about this pen is, even though it's very small, it is meant to post. And when you post it, it becomes a wonderful full-size pen that is not oversized in girth. This actually becomes a very pleasant writing experience. I did really enjoy the grip. It's kind of conical, but it tapers with the flare. So it lets you index your fingers nicely. I didn't have any problems with leaks throughout my entire, I think I used this for about a month and a half, 2 months. So it was a pleasure to use. I really enjoyed the weight of it. I actually used it quite often, and like I said, once you have this filled in with ink, this was like a purple color on top of, everything else, so it kind of really set off the pen. So with big ink windows, sometimes you do want to kind of spend more time pairing your inks. Okay, let's look over here. This is an eyedropper only. However, this is a giant volume of ink. So when you do eyedropper this, this thing went on forever without any problems. Giant volume of ink, but you do have to eyedropper it. I definitely would put a little bit of silicone grease along that O-ring as well, just for safety. But I had no leaks with this in my time using it. It's kind of hard to see, but there is an engraving of their logo right there, F3, which was a nice little touch. I actually didn't notice it at first. I'd been using it for a few weeks, and then I noticed this very fine detail. So just goes to show, the quality of their work. Paying attention to those details. Now let's try this nib. So I've already cleaned this out before the review, so I'm not going to go ahead and ink this up because it's going to be a lot more cleaning for me. But what I'm going to do is do a dip nib sample, whereby you just dip the nib in, and that allows you to write for, paragraph, couple sentences or so. And we'll test this nib that way. Now, the Kodachi grind is very similar to the zoom in that it is dependent on your angle of writing. So if you have a high angle, it has very thin lines. If you have your natural writing angle, it's more of a medium. And if I were to go very low, it should be even more broad. So depending on your writing angle, you get different performance from this nib. Let's try the reverse right. The reverse right is like an extra fine. And Matt Chen does top-notch work. I own 2 of his grinds. I've used all of his grinds. I met him and his mother at the Boston Commonwealth Pen Show this year. So I tried literally every grind he made. He had like a little sample table out. So top-notch work. His grinds are awesome. I would definitely highly recommend him if you were looking for a custom nib. And then this one being a number 8 is even larger and more smooth. So this is a nice writer. All right, now we're going to do some size comparisons. First, we're going to start our comparisons while it's in pocket size mode. So here is the Namisu Nova. little pocket pen. That one is shorter, but more stout, definitely. Now let's look at a 1918 Wall 10-point gold overlay. This was a vest, or what we would call a pocket pen today. They called vest size pens back then. But this was basically their version of the pocket pen. We can see it's also just a little bit shorter than the F3. Next, let's look at this compared to some standard pens. Here's a Homo sapiens. So you can see it's much shorter than a Homo sapiens and much thinner too. Let's look at a vanishing point. There we see the vanishing point up against the F3. Now let's take a look at how this would stack up when it's posted in its kind of full-size mode. So there you see that. It actually is a little bit longer than the Homo sapiens when it's posted. Check out the Nemiso. It's a tiny bit longer than the Nemiso as well. And now our final thoughts and conclusions on the F3 fountain pen. When I had this pen and I had it inked up, I actually found myself reaching for it much more than I thought. And I think that's because once it's posted, it's nice in the hand and it's still on the thinner side. So it's not super girthy, but it was really kind of like just right, you know? And I really do enjoy the grip here. It's not concave, but I enjoy how the taper is further up here. So it lets me index a little bit further up rather than like right on the edge there. The nib was pretty insane for many reasons. First off, it's a Kodachi grind by Matt Chen. So it was an unusual grind, and I really liked when you capped it up, it was nice and small. The one thing I would have preferred on a pocket pen was a clip. I tend to use clipped pens more often, and this being so small, fitting in the pocket so well, I would have preferred it with a clip, but this is something that as a custom pen maker, you could request that when you put in your order. If you're buying secondhand off someone else, you can have that privilege. You could custom order a pen and request a clip. They actually have really, really cool clip designs. It's one of my favorites in the industry. They have lots of engravings and different patterns on their clips, so really cool stuff. You should check out their website. I'll definitely post that below. Final thoughts. Thank you so much to the sponsor who sent this in for review. It was a really cool, small, bespoke maker and a really nifty idea for a pen. And your nib that was custom added was definitely kind of crazy and over the top. So thank you for watching. If you're still here, please do like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and definitely check out F3 pens next time you are in the mood for a bespoke pen. Take care, everybody. As always, may your journey lead to your own personal serenity.